Hey everybody, welcome! My name is Kurt, aka the Vitruvian Gamer, and here we are with a brand new playthrough. Yes, we are going to play the solo variant of 51st State, the complete master set by Ignacy Cevicek, published by Portal Games. Oh yes, that's what we're going to do. So let's see what this game is all about. Now I'm playing with the pre-order version. As you can see, it has the pieces with a little bit more details, but still the difference between this version and the retail version is not big. You also have the little guns there, but you don't have the little details on it. That's the only difference. All the pieces that you'll see here are pretty much the same as the retail version, only with the exception of some minor details. Alright, so what are we going to do? Solo playthrough, of course, and well, the game here, I have these 6 factions right over here. Now, we only need one for ourselves, and the virtual player doesn't need any faction board. So let's take a 6-sided die and let's see which faction we are going to play. Okay, there we go, 6-sided die, and let's see who we are going to play with. We are playing with Texas. There we go, this is our faction for this game. You can choose between men and women. Well, I'm a guy, so let's pick the guy side, but there's absolutely no difference between them. I'm just taking the guy side because it's easier for me to put the locations to the right of it. That's the plan. So there we go, that's our faction. Now, what else did we do here to set up this game? Well, not that much. You don't need to do much. It's a really quick setup. We have all the pieces over there. I'll explain them later while I'm playing, which one does what action or what you can do with it. We have, of course, the deck of cards. I'm only going to play with the base game. The game comes with 2 expansions. And you can choose one of those 2 expansions to shuffle in this, and you have a little bit different kind of gameplay. You could mix all of them together, but then the balance is a little bit off, so it's not advised to do so. We also have these 2 cards right over here, and those are the connection cards. Each round there will be 1 face up of each color. We have those blue and those reds, and well, you just you can buy them or exchange 2 of your workers for 1 of those cards. Right, and it's also important for the solo variant, because also your virtual opponent is going to try to take these cards, and if he does, well, he scores points with that. So we have these with the draw pile underneath them, we have our draw deck, we have our scoring board here, and I still need to take our score marker and 1 for the virtual player. So we will be the Texans with this symbol here, and we will play against a blue one. It's a nice difference of colors, so we'll put those on at the scoring track. And well, that's about it. That is the biggest part of setup. Okay, and I suggest we just immediately start playing the game. Very easy. What happens first at the beginning of the game? We don't have any cards yet, so we get our cards. So normally in a multiplayer game, each player can get to do this, of course. And what you do is you draw 6 cards, and you can choose 4 of them as your starting hand. So let me check these out. Now, let's see. What are these cards all about? So let me show you what this all is all about. So first of all, of course, it has a picture, it has a name. It also has an ability. Now you have 3 kinds of abilities. If you know the game Imperial Settlers, you might recognize these. So you have action cards. Those are cards that you can later activate as an action, and it does different kind of things. You have features. Features are cards that give you a one-time bonus if you build them, or that reacts to certain things. When you do it, it triggers and you get stuff, points or whatever. And then I'm not sure if I have one of these in my hand now. No, you also have, of course, production cards. Well, they provide you with resources each round. So at this time, no production, and that's kind of sucks because I would love to have some production as well. I do like the motel. It lets us draw cards. So I think I will keep this one in my hand. Let's see what else is interesting. We can discard deals for points. We can store up, well, that might be interesting. We can store more material. That's interesting. This gives us points, and the goal of the game is to get those points. Why? Well, unlike Imperial Settlers, we don't play for 5 rounds. Well, we could play for 5 rounds, but we don't know that yet. We just play until at a certain point one of the players, so that's me or the virtual player in this case, reaches 25 points or more, and that triggers the end of the game. So it's kind of a race to those points, and it's very important to gain enough points. This gives us more dudes, that's always interesting. And this gives us a building bonus, 1 point for each of these symbols in our estate. Now, yes, you can see these symbols are on the left side here. Well, so that's interesting. I could try to build those, but oh man, I think I will forgo that, and I think I will take these two, one for points, one for workers. So that's what I'm taking. The other ones, they get discarded. We'll put those aside. And that's our starting hand of 4 cards. And now we can play the first round of this playthrough, 51st State. So, and the game comes with this really handy dandy reference sheet. It's one paper with all things you actually need to know. So we have there on the left top here, we have the phases, very shortly written, and then we have more information about those phases. So as you can see, we will start the game, or we start a round. This is first round. We started by the lookout phase, in which we receive new cards. Now, normally it works like Imperial Settlers. You take cards from the deck equal to the amount of players plus 1. The first player chooses one. You go around. Each player chooses one. You discard the one that's left over. You do this once more, and you go the other way around with the players. But in the solo variant, you take 4 cards from the deck. And whoops, I'm messing around with those. Now, okay, as you can see, 4 cards. We get to choose one of these, and we get first dips. Okay, so we have a gun shop, which gives us points if we spend those guns. We have a production building which produces workers. That's interesting, I think. And these 2 guns also for points, and 2 of these little oh man, I forget the name. It's the resource is iron. Those little mechanical thingies. Also for points, I think I'm going to go first for the school because it gives us more workers in the future. So I choose one. I put it in my hand. Now we have 3 cards left, and the virtual player gets to choose one of these 3 cards. This is how normally you would shuffle them and pick one. I'm not going to shuffle all the time. It's very hard with doing that with the camera in front of me. So I'm going to roll a die, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's a card the virtual player will take. So we roll a die. It's not a 4. So he will take this shelter and he'll put it in front of him. I'll put them right on top of the table there. Okay, now it's back to me. I can choose one more, and I think I'm going to take the one that's a little bit easier to do. So this one, spend 2 guns to get 2 points. So I'll take that one in my hand as well, and this one goes to the virtual player, who has 2 cards now in front of him. But we're not done with him yet, because he gets a 3rd one, and that's just the top card of the deck. There we go. So he starts with 3 locations already in play. We have 6 cards in our hand, and that's the lookout phase. So now let's go to the next part, the next phase, and as you can see, let's take that sheet again here. We now have production. We'll gain goods and resources produced by your state. Now, if we had these cards here, the production cards, we would gain whatever the production said, but we didn't build those yet, so we only get the production of our player board. Let's show that to you. So on the top of that, you'll see which things we produce. Now, those things are different for each faction. As you can see, I'm producing 4 workers, one of those gray arrows here, which are contact tokens, and I draw 1 card, while the Merchants Guild, they would get 3 workers, 1 fuel, 1 contact token, and 1 card. So we get more workers. Okay, right, so let's take those. So 4 workers, we'll put them on our board. Now these are the workers, these little dudes. Hello, I'm a worker. I am going to help the Vitruvian gamer to win this game. Alright, 4 workers, 1 of those gray contact tokens, like this, and we draw 1 card. Now, as you can see, unlike Imperial Settlers, where you have your own faction deck, of which you can draw cards, there is only 1 common deck here, so we get to draw 1 card from that deck. We have the Assassin, which produces guns. That might be interesting for the card that we took over there. Okay, so that's the production phase. Not much to it. If we had production buildings or deals, we would get more, but it's the first round. This is all we get. So, time for the next phase. Phase 3, the action phase. This is the main phase of the round. We are going to use our cards and our goods to take actions and gain victory points. Okay, so also, not normally at the end of the lookout phase, we would turn around the top cards of the connection cards. I already did that at the beginning of the game, so normally you do that at the end of the lookout phase. Alright, so let's do some actions. And well, some things are important in a solo variant here. Well, why? Well, because if it's the virtual player's turn, the action that he will choose, if possible, is to take 1 of these 2 connection cards. If he does so, he gets 2 points. So that gives him 2 points that way. So if we do not buy any of those, the virtual player gets 4 points in the first 2 turns. Once all these connection cards are gone, he's going to try to attack us, and he's going to try a maximum of 3 attacks. As soon as he does a successful attack, he passes, and well, he doesn't do anything anymore. If after 3 attacks he isn't successful, well, he is going to give up for that round. That's sweet, right? Okay, so let's do our actions first. We're the first players, so let's do something. Now, what are the actions that we can do? Well, I'm going to give you a short summary of what you can do. What we can do is we could build one of our locations and put it into our state. To do that, we would have to pay the cost for it. To build a location, we need these arrows here, and the cost that well, the amount of arrows is the distance on the card. That's the cost you need to pay to build this location into your state. The thing that we can do as well is to develop a location. That's a little bit more difficult thing here. So developing means that you are going to build over an already built location. So let's say we already built the assassins here, and we don't need them anymore or whatever. We could build on top of it. So that means we would have to pay 1 brick. That are these tokens here. 1 brick, and we remove the location, and then we can build a location that I'm not getting that card from the table, which shares at least one of both of these types with that location. So we could choose the Ruined Library, for example, that has a gun as well here, or it has bullets. Also, we could build the Merc Outpost because it has the bullets as well. And so then we put that into its place, and we get 1 victory point for that. But of course, we do not have any bricks at this moment, and we do not have any locations built yet. Alright, what else can we do? We can make a deal. Alright, how to make a deal? Very easy as well. So, you have on the bottom of the card, we have this thing here that says deal, in the blue border here. We could make a deal. We have to pay 3 blue arrows. So let's take one of those. So we need 3 of these blue arrows because that's the distance on the card. And then if we pay 3 blue arrows, we can put it here underneath our player board. And now we get a deal with this card. Now, when making a deal, you immediately get the thing you are dealing for. So in this case, a gun. And each production phase after that, you also get a gun. Okay, what else is possible? We could raise. Now, we can raise our opponent. How do you raise an opponent? Well, let's say that I want to raise this location over here, the shelter. Then I would have to pay red arrows, red connection tokens, like these, equal to the distance, but not the distance on the card. Each kind of card has its own distance. So, and that we can see that on the player boards. So let's take the Merchant Guild again. So as you can see, the production buildings, they have a defense of 3. The features have 4 distance or defense, and the action cards 5. So for an action to destroy an action card, we need 5 of these red tokens. Okay, so that's raising, but you can also raise from your own hand. So let's say I don't want to build the assassin, but I can use some guns. I could raise this out of my hand, and then we do have to pay red tokens equal to its distance. So if it's from your own hand, you pay this number of red tokens. Alright. Now, you also have these police tokens here. I don't think it's going to do a lot with the solo variant, but if you have a location with a police token on it, it costs 1 more raise token to destroy that. If your location is destroyed, well, you do get some reward for it, because if your location is raised, you get to turn it around. It is, well, not a location anymore. It's, well, you can call it a ruin, I think. And yeah, it's ruins, and you can still develop this card. So it's not worth any points. You cannot do any actions with it, but you can develop over it. So that's handy. And the player who raised the card, well, he or she gets the spoils depicted on the card as well. The next action, yes, there are more actions. The next thing you could do is pay 2 of your workers to buy one of the connection cards that's still over there. So I could buy this merchant's card for 2 workers. I put it in my hand. It has the same backs as the other cards, and well, later on I could play this in my turn as to gain 2 blue tokens, as you can see, blue arrows. And this one does not get refreshed. This no card is only coming in at the end of the next lookout phase. So if both cards are down, you cannot get one anymore. And then the last action, of course, well, not the last action, another action you can do is do actions from your board or from your cards that are in your state. So let's go back down. Now, your state action cards, for example, I could, as an action, I could spend one of these things here to gain 2 workers. You can only do this once in a round, unless the card says different. So if you do that, you put whatever it costs, whatever you pay for it to trigger the action, you put it on the card to, well, to show that you already did the action, and you get the reward of doing so. And your player board also has actions on it. So as you can see here, actions, I can spend one of these iron to gain a gray connection token, a gun for a red, and fuel for a blue one. And let's see, we could spend 2 of our workers to gain 1 resource or 1 to draw 1 card. And we can activate that more times. Okay. That's that. Alright. That are all the actions. So let's start doing that. The actions for round number 1. Okay, so we do know he is going to take a spoils card. And yeah. So we want to avoid that. Because why? We don't want them to get 2 of those. Because it's 4 points. And at the end of the game also he gets 1 point for each of his locations still in play. So we might as well consider buying one of the 2 connection cards. And I think we will do so. So we'll pay 2 of our workers and we will buy the merchant card. It gets also in our hand. There we go. And now it is the virtual player's turn. So you do also always do 1 action and then it goes over to the next player. If he can, he takes the top card of the location deck. So that gets this card of the connection cards, one of the 2, or if there are 2, he takes 1 random. He takes that one and he scores 2 points for that. There we go. We're 2 points behind. Alright, next is our turn. And well, we do know he's going to try to attack us 3 times. So as long as we don't have any locations, he cannot raise our locations with those attacks. So let's do some other things first. And I think, yeah. Let's see, I think I'm just going to play discard the merchants. So I'm going to discard that as well. And we gain 2 blue contact tokens. There we go. Alright. So what I like to do, by the way, is also to take a die for the virtual player. Well, that's not necessary. We can show it otherwise. So he's going to try to attack us. So he will do so. He takes the top card of the deck, and well, we'll see. We'll check the types on the card. If that matches one of our locations, we destroy that location. And if there are multiple, then well, there are rules for that as well. We'll do so if necessary. But we, as you know, there is no location there yet, so we can just continue doing what we were doing. Okay, what do we need? I want to build this one for later, so we can get more dudes. I'd love to build that one as well, but for that we also need more great tokens. We only have 1 at this moment, so that's not too good. Let's see if we can get more of those. So I think I will make a deal, and well, as you might remember, we have to pay blue tokens, blue contact tokens, equal to the distance of a card with which we want to deal. And I'm going to do the motel here, so I'll pay 2 of these tokens because it's distance 2, and I'll put a card underneath my faction board here, and I get the reward immediately. This lets us draw a card. I always like to draw more cards. So there we go, we pay 2 blue tokens and we can draw a new card. Let's see if that's something interesting. Distance 3, the Thief's Caravan. It has some great spoils. These bullets there are wild. Draw a card, so we might consider doing that. It also has the action 2 workers to take 1 of those things from another player, and the other player doesn't have any resources, so the action here is not that great for us. So we could do this for spoils, or we could do this for the deal later. Okay, awesome. That was our action. Now the virtual player is going to attack again. He has the gunsmith. That doesn't do anything at all. So that's his second attack. What can we do? Oh man. I'd love to have more tokens to make deals, but that's hard to do. So the choice is, will I risk it already to build something? Or will I get one of the resources with our 2 workers with the action on the player board? Yeah, I think I'm going to pay those 2 fellows here. So I'm paying 2 dudes and I'm going to take 1 resource. Now, not all these things are resources. The resources are fuel, iron, guns and brick. Those are the resources in this game. So we have one of these. Virtual player's turn. He's going to attack once more. Of course, nothing to attack here at this moment. So now it's back to our turn. We still have one of these gray and one of these tokens here. Now at the end of this round is the cleanup phase, in which we remove everything that we didn't use except for our cards in our hand, of course. So we want to use these. So let's do that, of course. And we'll do that by paying the iron we just got and exchanging that for another gray contact token. The virtual player, he's done for this round. He passes. That means we cannot attack him anymore. As soon as a player or the virtual player passes, he is out of the round and he cannot be the target of any attacks or whatever. So now it's our turn. We can keep on playing though. So we pay 1 of these gray contact tokens and we are going to build the school here in the production line here, and that means we get a production of 1. Let's get a production of 1 dude, 1 worker, and a one-time building bonus of 1 worker. So building bonus, you get that when you build it for the first time. You get it once. So we have 2 workers again. Next that we want to do is building assassins might be stupid because we get a gun which we cannot really use anymore, although if we get enough spoils, but then for enough of these red tokens we need 3 guns. That's going to be very difficult to do. So the things we build now, I'm going to build with this gray token again. I'm going to build the ruined library. It's a feature, and on this feature we can store up to 3 of those goods during the cleanup phase and we get them back, so we do not have to remove 3 of our resources, of our goods. So we built that in the feature line. That's great. And well, we're not done yet. We have these 2 fellows here. We're going to do exactly what we did before. So I'm going to pay 2 of these dudes for 1 of these here, the iron, and I'm going to exchange the iron for 1 of those contact tokens again. I'll pay that one, and we will build the location, the assassin here, cost of 1, distance, and there we go. So we put it right next to the school. It's a very safe school right next to the assassins, and we get the open production of 1 gun. So let's take that gun. By the way, I think these tokens are just plain awesome. So the ones you get in retail will look like this. The one you get with the pre-order look like that. Well, it's nice, but it's not necessary. These, like this, they are pretty cool, don't you think so? So we have 1 of those guns. We could exchange that for 1 red contact token, but I don't think I can do anything with it. So I guess I will end my round. Not that much useful. The only thing I could do is raise this card for 2 dudes, and then we can do something more maybe, but not that much I think. So I'm going to end this my round. So my action is to pass. So this round is over. Then we go to the cleanup phase, in which we discard all unspent goods and tokens. Now, so normally I would have to get rid of my gun, but I'm going to put it into the ruined library. It's a great place to hide your gun. And that's the end of this round. So first round is over. We're at 0 points. Virtual player has 2. We survived the 3 attacks. We can discard these cards now. And, well, that's round number 1. So I know this was a long round, of course, because I did some explaining of the rules and of the setup and the cards. The other things, they will come, will be explained as they come. The next rounds will be faster, of course, but we will have more actions to do, so it might be as long as this one, but we'll see. So this was first round. We have some things already that we can do, that we'll get in the production. Really interesting. So I hope your interest has been awoken of 51st State already, and I hope I will see you in the part 2, of course, of this playthrough, in which things might get more interesting, but because now we have some buildings that can be raised by our enemy, so we will have to be flexible in the things we want to do. Alright, thank you folks for watching this first part. I hope you'll be there in the next one, and I'll see you all there in the future. Feel free to comment below to give me a thumbs up if you like this series. Share them with people you think might think this is interesting as well. I haven't seen too many solo playthroughs of this, so they might want to see how that works. Alright, people, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.